Hello there, it's Dub again. Welcome back to another build guide slash build showcase. Are you ready for some weird build? If so, continue watching because this is a weird build. It's built around the Disintegrator stuff. And I built around this before and only used the attack damage part of this stuff. And because this stuff actually have both good damage for attack damage, attack physical damage, and it adds a lot of physical damage to spells. So I always wanted to make a build that utilized both aspects of the stuff. So I ended up with this build, which is a Cyclone, Cast on Crit, Blade Vortex, Bladefall build. At first I'm just running with Cyclone, Cast on Crit and Blade Vortex, and I find that I am not clearing, because the AoE is not big enough, I'm not clearing that well. That's why I add in Bladefall too, which actually solve our clearing problem. It actually clears quite well with this setup. And then what we want to do is scale both attack and spell damage. And to do this, I decided to go Elementalists because it gets a lot of generic damage from golem buffs. With these two golem nodes combined with the extra golem here and another extra golem from Animal Stone, you actually can use 5 golems, which means 250% golem buff effect and 100% generic damage from the golem nodes. And then we can scale more penetration from Mastermind of Discord. And I'm also using Crown of Ice, which makes our spell damage scaling also apply to our attack damage, which is the main idea of the build. You scale both spell and attack damage, and with the Disintegrator stuff give a lot of base damage for both spell and attacks, which result in this Cyclone, Blade Vortex, Bladefall build, which utilize both types of damage type, and Bladefall is basically just for the clearing, but it actually also gives a lot of damage for single target too, because Bladefall can actually hit multiple times on the same target. So that's that. Yeah. So for the gearing, obviously it's centered around Disintegrator, and then use Crown of Ice to scale both attack and spell. And because we want spell damage, so Mark of the Shaper is the go-to ring here, because that's a lot of spell damage, which also means a lot of attack damage, which means the other ring has to be an Elder Range, which actually can be really good because it can have the mod of Grand level 22 Herald of Ash, which means we save a shortcut if we get that mod. And as you can see, we are using 5 golems together with some heralds and some other preservation. So shortcuts are actually really tight for this build. You need a lot of shortcuts. So for the other ring, you really want to find a ring that either has a shortcut or Grand level 22 Herald of Ash, which is an Elder mod. So, or both. If you get an unset ring with Herald of Ash, that means you save 2 shortcuts. But if you can only, you really want to at least have one of them, so you save as much shortcuts as possible. And if you get a ring like mine that has plus level to shortcut the gems, you can either choose to put Chaos Golem here to get extra physical reduction, or you can put Stone Golem for extra regeneration to further counteract the Siphoning Charge degeneration. And because you have sizable amount of physical reduction, as you can see we have 21. Like if you have no Chaos Golem, you have no reduction. But if you have the Chaos Golem, you get 21% physical reduction, and then combined with 15% reduction with Basalt Flask, combined with Endurance Charge generation on melee critical strike, that we are actually looking at more than 50% damage, physical damage reduction most of the time. And when you have Siphoning Charge, you get further more physical damage reduction. Now, also throw in Soul of Lunaris. When you're surrounded by mobs, you get even more physical damage reduction. So you can actually get close to like 60% physical damage reduction under the perfect circumstances. But if you're only getting Endurance Charge or Siphoning Charge or some Endurance Charge and stuff, you're already still looking at around 50% physical damage reduction. So 5k life is actually not too bad for that. But obviously you're still gonna die to juice up Metamorphs. But in terms of map contents, it actually allows you to survive a lot of map contents for the defensiveness for that. And then for the remaining pieces of gear, we're looking at crit multi and life and dex on the amulet, because you need a lot of dex for Blade Vortex and Bladefall. And then because you don't have a lot of crit multi in this build, so crit multi is actually more effective than gain physical damage as fire or gain physical damage as lightning and such. But if you can get both, getting both crit multi and gain physical as element would be the perfect amulet for you, but that would be too expensive. So generally you want to look for crit multi, life, resistance and dex on your amulet. You want to look for saving shortcuts for your Elder Ring. And then you want a Shaper Glove because Siphoning Charge, and you can get the blind mod, so you blind enemies easily and reduce your chance you get crit or getting hit at all. And when you do get hit, you have 50% plus physical damage reduction, so that's that. And then for belts, you can use a Singivice, which allows you to use Abyss Jewels to fill out your accuracy, or you can use Shaper or Elder global physical damage belt, which also gives you more Siphoning Charge, which I think around 4 to 5% more damage per Siphoning Charge. But you don't always keep up the Siphoning Charge, because if you are cycloning, it only counts as one use of a skill. But at the same time, you can spam Orb of Storm and your Steel Skin to get more Siphoning Charge. But just cycloning will not keep up your Siphoning Charge. So yeah, you balance around how many Siphoning Charge you want. I think 4 to 5 is more than enough though. Yeah, so that's the belt. Depends on your accuracy. If you get accuracy from ring or amulet, then you don't need the episode jewel for the accuracy, so you can use Shaper or Elder belt. Depends on you. And then the boots will be movement speed, life, and the remaining stats you need, like dex or resistances. You want movement speed though, because Cyclone. So as for Flask, you want a Series Promise, because conversion builds are always good to have a Series Promise for more extra chaos damage. Basalt Flask because it stacks well with our other source of physical damage reduction, which pushes to over 50% reduction. And because we are immune to elemental elements, as long as you have 3 or more golems. Thanks to the elements node, you can use craft the critical strike chance during Flask effect mod on the Basalt Flask, and then just use a removal curse removal Diamond Flask for more crit. More crit means more castle and crit procs, so yeah, Diamond Flask is always good for crit builds. And then final Flask, you want Quicksilver because Cyclone. You can swap in Taste of Hate because it's cheap these days, and it shatters the porcupines and the delve mobs so they don't explode on you. So if you're delving or if you're running the maps that has porcupines, you want Taste of Hate, but for general mapping you want Quicksilver. So that's that. So that's the Flask. And then for Gem Link, you would like to use Bladefall, Cyclone, Cast on Crit, Blade Vortex, Bladefall linked with Fist to Lightning. If you're not using the Shroud of the Lightless, you can use the final link for concentrate effect or add the fire damage. Depends on you. But I would recommend the chest piece to be Shroud of the Lightless because the juice up resistance of mobs and bosses in Metamorph League, and it allows you to use Abyssal Jewel for your accuracy scaling. I think two Abyssal Jewel combined with the Crown of Ice and the accuracy from Ice Golem should be able to achieve 100% hit chance. But if you so choose, if you're using other chess piece like Lawweave and Carcass Jack, both are decent choice, but they don't provide penetration, and Lawweave requires too much divine or too expensive if you want to find a good road Lawweave. So, and you need everything from Lawweave. You need the fist damage, you need the elemental damage, you need the crit. So you need the life, you need the max res. So I would not recommend Lawweave because that's too many stats you need there. Shroud of the Lightless just allows us to penetrate multiple elements because we're doing multiple elements of damage. So and it saves you the fusing for 6 links. So that's that. So that's the gearing, and we talk about the links, and then the main links, and then the utility link will be Orb of Storm, Power Charge on Crit, Curse on Hit, S-Mark, and Arcane Surge. And yeah, we're not gonna 6-link the staff because we want enough sockets for all 5 of our golems. So that's like Flame Golem here, Lightning Golem here, Stone Golem, Ice Golem, and Chaos Golem here. Again, you can swap Stone Golem into the plus level ring if you have one. And then auras. I'm currently using the main Vesselvation will be Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ash, and Aspect of the Spider. You just need to spare a suffix and then use the beast crafting to craft the Aspect of the Spider in as a suffix guarantee. So just have one spare suffix on any of your gear and then craft it on it. That's the 2 Herald and the Aspect of Spider is the main Vesselvation. And then for the final Vesselvation, if you're missing accuracy, you can use precision. If you have enough accuracy, you can use Skitterbots. If you are at endgame and have enough currency to buy energy shield gain for each enemy hit while affected by discipline, you can just use the discipline as the final Vesselvation. But if you do not have the Watcher's Eye, just stack with Skitterbots for 50% more damage. and chilling enemy. So yeah, that's the mana preservation. And the final two links are I am using Steel Skin and Vow Grace for even more defensive layers, because Metamorphs are really dangerous this league, so you want all kinds of defensive capability you can get. And I think we can do a quick showcase of the power of the Watcher Eye and the clearing of this build. Yeah, as you can see, the clearing is fine. As you can see, we can also show you the power of the Watcher Eye mod. As you can see, you survive so long inside darkness thanks to the energy shield gain while affected by discipline. As long as you have something to hit, you are gonna have at least 1,000 extra energy shield as a buffer on top of your health pool. And if you have nothing to hit, that means the target is dead, so you don't need it. So that's basically it. Also, if you're, like I said, if you're doing Delve or doing maps that has porcupines, just use Taste of Hate, so you shatter most of the enemies, and you don't need to worry about the on-kill effects like the bugs exploding or the porcupines shooting spikes at you. So yeah, as long as you have something to hit, you're gonna have 1,000 extra life. So I think that's worth it in terms of defensiveness, given how dangerous the contents is getting. So yeah. So that's the clearing and the power of the Watcher Eye showcase, and yeah. Did I miss anything? Anything important? Oh, yeah. You need to also beware when your golem dies, because they still die to chaos and physical damage. And if they die, you only have element immunity if you have 3 or more golems, so you need to pay attention to if your golem is dying. And we summon them as needed. As long as you have all your buffs up, like you're gonna have, you know, you're gonna have like 50% physical reduction, because if you're hitting something, you're gonna crit them and get endurance charge too. So we're looking at around 50% damage reduction and stuff. Physical damage reduction and stuff. So yeah, that's that. Maybe we can take a look at the POE. Yep, Shaper, Guardian, they have 50% resistance now, and when we have 3 Spiderweb, we are looking at 218,000 Cyclone DPS. We're looking at 1.2 to 1.3 million late Vortex DPS, depending on how much you're hitting the single target and keep up your Blade Vortex stacks. But as long as you can keep attacking the target, you should be able to keep up the stacks easily. Bladefall, we're looking at around 150,000 per Bladefall, and Bladefall can hit the same target multiple times, and it triggers like, I don't know, 3 times? You know, 3 times a second or something. So you're looking at nearly 2 million combined DPS. Like, if you are not using the discipline, if you're using the skitterboard, 2 million DPS is safe to achieve. It's easy to achieve. So Also, when you are importing the POB, you need to make sure you have these two lines because currently the POB doesn't know how to calculate the golem node of Elementalists, so remember to put in these two lines to simulate the golem buffs. And yeah, that's the numbers and damage and stuff. I'm gonna put the POB link down below too, and yeah. Is there anything I'm missing here? I think, yeah, I kind of want to keep it shorter than the last time because like 45 minutes is way too long, so yeah, I guess if you have any more questions, you can ask me down in the comment sections or check out my stream and stuff. So again, if you like weird builds like this that scale both attack and spell damage, you can do this. Oh, or I can talk a little bit about the leveling. Basically you level with Blade Vortex, and then later when you get to like level 44, you can swap to Dual Widowmaker, which has enough crit chance and attack speed to allow you to start cast on critting. So you can put Cyclone, cast on crit, Blade Vortex, and Bladefall as your main lane, starting from level 44. It should be easily achievable even as a league starter. I league start with this, and this is what I have done with league starting, so it should not be too difficult to achieve. So get Dual Widowmaker with the first 4 link here with your main skill. You should be able to start cast on critting with both Blade Vortex and Bladefall. And the auras you use for leveling should be triple Heralds, Herald of Ash, Ice, Thunder, and Precision. That's to fill out your accuracy and your damage need. And then you want to use Stone Golem, Lightning Golem, and Ice Golem at the beginning, which means you need to take these nodes. And the first ascendancy should be Primordial node. So you get 3 golems. Together with the 3 heralds and precision, you should have enough hit chance, crit chance, and stuff to start cast on critting. So basically, Blade Vortex until you get Widowmaker, and then start cast on critting, and then add in the Hymn Sorrow if you need to, because that's a lot of extra damage, and then you can grab the penetration nodes too for all 3 types of penetration. And then when you get to maps, I think I do Widowmaker for the entirety of white maps, and then I search for stuff like this one, which has the decent physical DPS with the tempo mod of the spell damage node, which force 100% spell damage. So this is a good hybrid staff, which is like 5 to 10 chaos. That's a lot of them. A lot of people are selling this because nobody's buying hybrid staff. So this is easily found. You want the suffix to either be attack speed or crit, so you can craft attack speed or crit on top of it. If you get attack speed, you craft crit. If you get crit, you craft attack speed on it. So you get yourself a decent physical DPS staff with the tempo mod of 100% spell damage. And then you can start using this staff for yellow maps. And when you move into red maps, you really want to actually look for Disintegrator and Mark of the Shaper. Mark of the Shaper, I think, is the most expensive piece of major gear, minus the Watcher's Eye, which you only add in when you are getting to late game and need extra defense. Mark of the Shaper is the most expensive piece of gear. Disintegrator is the price dropped really fast, but you may still need 1 exhaust for the Disintegrator. But you need like 2 exhaust for the Mark of the Shaper, depending on the league, I guess. But the Disintegrator will not be too expensive because again nobody is using it. So Crown of Ice basically worth nothing. Yeah, that's the gear progression basically gear progression. So yeah, Helm Sorrow and Widowmaker early on, swap to this kind of stuff later, and then buy Disintegrator is the most important, and then maybe look for a Shroud of the Lightless, and then Mark of the Shaper, and then fill out the other slots. Crown of Ice is easy to get. The belt, you can use a physical damage belt for quite a while, until you get to later game when you drop the precision aura for the aspect of the spider. So yeah, I think that's basically it. So yeah, if you have any question, ask me down below or check on my stream. So yeah, I make kind of weird builds that doesn't really suck, but yeah, not hardcore viable, but it can get the job done, and it's not meta builds, and I found them fun to play. So yeah, if you're looking for the mega DPS build, just go watch Matthew and stuff. But if you want to look at some weird build that is weird, then yeah, come see me again, maybe later, or check out my other build guides. So thank you for joining, and I'm gonna see you and when I come up with some other interesting build. I think that's worth sharing, or maybe next league, I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is that I'm gonna showcase some harder contents for this build with other videos, not in this build guide though. Anyway, thank you for joining, and I'm gonna see you in another build guide. So have a nice day and goodbye.